Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlasoon, we have a triple battle from Ruby. I don't really see any crazy kind of gimmick, but it is a fun-looking team. It's also going to be going up against evolutions and people like triples, so let's see what we have. Now, I do see potentially cool stuff, like we have a filthy defensive tank in that Skarmory. We also have a pretty solid setup with the Tentacruel and the Heatran. Let's go and see where this goes, and Heatran looks pretty safe. Like, I'm not expecting a Hidden Power Ground or an Earthquake from EVs, but the Vaporeon is a bit threatening, and the rest of it is just going to be interesting to watch. So, Tentacruel with the Sludge Wave. Ooh, already some synergy right there, and that actually looks a little freaky. Just the Tentacruel, which already kind of has, like, the tentacle thing going on for just kind of spreading out the Sludge Wave in every direction. That looks nice. And Heatran has the Earth Power onto the Jolteon. Super effective, but nothing's really going to come out of that. Tentacruel is going to avoid the Blizzard, and it looks like Skarmory actually taking a good chunk out of it, and Vaporeon going to follow up the Scald, and the Scald will be hitting. Wow! The focus down on the Skarmory going to clean up right there. Interesting stuff, and then we go into the Virizion. Alright, so Jolteon's going to protect this turn, wants to try to stay safe. The Tentacruel damage on that Sludge Wave wasn't massive, but Virizion's going to get that close combat onto Glaceon. Glaceon going to be one-shot in return, and that's going to be some defense drops right there, which is to be expected. Unless there's like an Ice Beam headed for Virizion, it's going to be good, but there we go. So Tentacruel also has the Toxic Spikes. That's something you don't really see too often, because you don't see entry hazards in double battles or in some kind of setup like that. So Heatran's Heat Wave not going to do anything to Vaporeon. Jolteon did protect. But since there was a KO and the Pokemon hasn't switched in yet, if you are very confident in scoring KO, the setting up an entry hazard actually has benefit, and that's the most apparent I've ever seen it in that turn right there. So Jolteon's going to switch out, wants to do something later, and Umbreon going to come in. Now, that's poison on two Pokemon. Interesting. And the Virizion's going to protect. I guess Scout out from that Vaporeon. I'm expecting an Ice Beam, but we'll see where it goes. Now, here's the Sludge Wave. So how much is the Sludge Wave actually going to do to the Sylveon? Yeah, like, the damage isn't crazy, but it is, like, doing a little bit to everyone, so I guess it adds up. Umbreon, Vaporeon, not really taking too much. So, it looks like these are just massive tanks trying to play off of that, but it will work out when we start getting into the poison damage and stuff. So Vaporeon Scald actually going to be headed for the Heatran. Heatran going to get dropped right there. The Hyper Voice would have taken out the Virizion and stuff like that, but the Tentacruel also tanking up really well, and now we're just getting through these turns right here. So also Virizion needed to protect because of the Sludge Wave, and that's just what we have. So Gardevoir is going to come in right now, following up with this kind of coverage. Now, Gardevoir, alright, against the Umbreon, that's going to be pretty bad, or pretty, like, massive, but we do see a Quick Claw on the Umbreon, which will spice things up a bit. Gardevoir does get its Mega Evolution, and Vaporeon's going to Helping Hand. Ooh, Helping Hand the Hyper Voice, that's going to be some damage right there. Umbreon has the Moonlight. Oh, no. I'm actually wondering, like, that's when you don't expect the Quick Claw. Virizion gets the Giga Drain. That's going to be alright damage on the Vaporeon. Virizion healing back up to full. And then taking a little bit from the Life Orb right there. Tentacruel with that Scald. Scald is going to hit Sylveon. Sylveon taking a little bit of damage. Gardevoir with that Hyper Voice. Hyper Voice going to pick off the Vaporeon and actually doing about half to the Umbreon. So maybe the Quick Claw, like maybe you might have known what was going on with that Quick Claw, because Umbreon seems to have a massive amount of tankiness. That is going to be Virizion going down. That is going to be Tentacruel tanking hard, but the Helping Hand really putting that damage down. And Umbreon now in KO range of that Hyper Voice. And then we see more poison damage on the Sylveon. It's weird because, like, both teams are putting out damage, and both teams are kind of also, like, tanking at the same time. So that's going to be Espeon coming in. Espeon can deal with the Tentacruel if Tentacruel has really been that much of a problem. Sylveon is going to be withdrawn, and Jolteon's back out. Okay, so Jolteon's now poisoned. I guess giving up Jolteon because Ambivalm's either going to go for Fake Out, or in this case goes for Protect. So you just kind of keep that first turn there, and then Espeon Psychic will take out the Tentacruel, but that means Gardevoir gets to do things. So Gardevoir gets a Hyper Voice. Umbreon's going to go down. Espeon going to survive. Wow, yeah. Like, the split damage in triple is looking just absolutely ferocious right there. Jolteon will survive after the poison. Really wants to take on this Ambipom. And Espeon also taking a little bit right there. But now Sylveon comes in. And suddenly, this is what the battle looks like. You would expect we'd have the Pokemon advantage, but we don't. Ambipom going to survive. Espeon with the round. Oh, the follow through on that damage right there. That's a good combo. I think we already saw like the Espeon or like the Sylveon, like, no, Evolution. Ooh, what? Oh yeah, it was like Mega Gardevoir. That's not gonna be Focus Sash. Does survive on that Hyper Voice after taking the down to 1 hit points, and then Jolteon is going to go down from the poison. So Toxic Spikes actually meaning something. Actually, Toxic Spikes probably coming up as one of the biggest contributing factors to all the damage right there, and suddenly we win. I was already caught off guard by the round. Okay, I'm going to summarize that battle. Like, I'm going to do my thing where I talk about the battle at the end, but I will add another one. Now, normally I, like, cut the battles, but I'm kind of feeling a little lazy right now, so I'm going to go and type in this code. Yeah, like, that was a lot of weird stuff. So I think in the other, like, triples mono evolution team, there was some round comboing. And round combos are pretty are good like that, because if you get that fast Pokemon, you get that round in there, you just stack on the damage. Now, Sylveon with round is actually a fairly devastating Pokemon, I would say. But let's go and see how this battle plays out. So it's not going to be against evolutions. Normally, like, we're the ones seeing that gimmick on our side, but same team. The opponent looking like they have a Deontay, so free battle spot, some legendaries, and just a little bit of a different team overall. We'll see how this one plays out. And then just Gardevoir clutch 1 hit point survival, damage rolls into poison damage and stuff. Like, that's crazy. That's just crazy what ends up happening. So we got Zapdos, Jolteon, Excadrill with the Heatran and all that set up. So Heatran's going to eat Thunderbolt, which doesn't really do too much. Tentacruel, Icy Wind Tech. Now I like that. So if the opponent has too much potential speed, you know, it looks like Tentacruel just trying to get status down, just trying to go for coverage, just doing whatever it needs to do. Scald might burn, Toxic Spikes gets poison, and apparently it works out. So that's going to be Skarmory setting up the Tailwind once again, and Excadrill with that Rock Slide going to hit up the Tentacruel and the Skarmory. Tentacruel taking a decent bit of damage. The opponent has a little bit of combo. Some synergy right there on the Excadrill, and then Jolteon getting an advantage off of that discharge, but Tentacruel, good special defense tank, so even though that's super effective hit, taking about as much as the Excadrill. There's the Earth Power onto the Jolteon. Jolteon taking more damage than the last one. Was the opponent's last Jolteon, like, slightly tanky? I have no idea. And that's going to be the leftovers, but Tentacruel going into that Scald, going to destroy Excadrill on that super effective critical hit. From the damage we've seen, it's like, did the crit matter? Now, Excadrill not a tanky Pokemon, but also Skarmory is going to take advantage of that Tailwind, try to Roost for itself. Roost actually going to work right here, and Heatran's going to get the Heat Wave, finish off the Jolteon, going to Zapdos. Now, crazy thing about Roost, grounds the Pokemon, loses the flying, so the Discharge actually going to do significantly less damage, and then Skarmory is going to keep alive. So Tentacruel, wow, it's like Tentacruel almost coming through on that one, and then Heatran actually getting that paralysis. But Skarmory, slight bit of heal on the leftovers, and we get to see how this one comes through. Virizion actually going to be the response. And Deontay with the other Pokemon that's going to be coming out, which is the Greninja. Okay. Greninja, I think, still outspeeds the Skarmory, even under that Tailwind. And Deontay's going to be Mega, so wants to deal with the rest of the opponents as well. The Fairy typing into Virizion going to be a little brutal. So that's going to be the Water Shuriken. Damage. It's like, is he going to hit all 5? Nope. Doesn't get it. Hits 3 times. Virizion has the Giga Drain. Giga Drain on the Greninja. Massive. Wow. stayed water typing as well. Yeah, I'm not too sure. Oh, actually, never mind. Like, yeah, it's sure the Greninja outspeeds the Skarmory, but the Virizian's gonna outspeed anyways. I was just thinking about that, the 1v1, so Virizian actually making a count. And then Zapdos with the Drill Peck. Interesting. Who runs Drill Peck Zapdos? Apparently, he'll knock out a Virizian, though, easily. And Deontay with the Diamond Storm. So that's not going to be good for Heatran. Heatran goes down, and are we going to see that defensive boost, right? On how Diamond Storm works? I don't know, but that's going to be Skarmory. These battles are so weird. Like, it looks like we're super far ahead, and then suddenly we just get shut right back down. But Ambipom's in right now, and the Gardevoir as well. So Mega's going to match up on the right side. Talonflame. Ooh, that's going to be rough, but we have to see how this one goes. And then the Mega Bracelet going to come through on that Gardevoir. So Gardevoir gets like Hyper Voice, do a lot of things. Zapdos is going to go down. Ambipom flinging the Razor Fang. Okay, so he's going to go and take out the, or like stun up the Talonflame on that flinch right there. Skarmory has the Roost, and it looks like the plan, I guess, with that Talonflame was to take out the Skarmory, like use Flare Blitz, not focus too hard on the Ambipom at this moment, and Gardevoir with a Hyper Voice, that's going to be damage onto the Zapdos. And then Deontay taking a really big hit as well. And Talonflame gets flinched. Deontay with the Diamond Storm. Diamond Storm is going to be good damage on the on the Ambipom and the Gardevoir. Oof. There we go. So Tailwind peters out. Ambipom is going to protect this turn. And Skarmory's just like hanging in there on those roosts while Talonflame has the overheat. Alright, so yeah, not the Flare Blitz. Has the overheat. That's going to be enough to take out Skarmory. Oh, sturdy ability. See, Skarmory's such a tanky Pokemon. You rarely see those situations where it uses the sturdy, but the Gardevoir is going to follow through with the Psychic to get enough damage to knock out the Deontay. Big turn right here, and Skarmory's going to try. It's like, I guess Skarmory understands. Alright, Talonflame's on the field. He has it out for me. I'm going to go for that Tailwind anyways, and it looks like the momentum is good enough right now. And that's going to be Ambipom with the Last Resort. Okay, then. So Ambipom Last Resort onto the Talonflame. Going to finish up the battle right there. I would not have expected the Last Resort. I will be honest right there. Like, the two-move setup in the Last Resort is pretty interesting. Because we saw Protect on last one. So it's like, alright, Protect Last Resort on the Ambipom. That makes sense. Now, the damage on it does... Well, actually, no. We see that flings the Razor Fang. So yeah, it's not going to have the damage like a Life Orb. But it's still going to have some good follow-up, and I guess that matters. But yeah, having, like, you fling, you get a flinch, you try to stay safe with the rest of your team under that Tailwind, I guess, and then you protect, fling, something happens, and then the Last Resort magically appears. I guess that's pretty cool. Now, for the rest of that battle, again, things happen, like, Pokemon stay up, go down, stuff. The Tailwind proved actually to be more powerful than I thought. Virizian's really interesting. It shows up, it gets a donk, and then gets destroyed by some kind of super effective hit in return. But I do like the Virizian. Like, that's a Pokemon we almost never see, and it did show some high-powered success on those super effective hits. It was just a really well-balanced triple. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hope to see you guys in the next Fan Fridays in a bit.